Hey, hello. Welcome to episode number 31 of the People We Love podcast. I am Adam Choi. How goes it? So this week's something that I love is cold water. I gave hot water its due a few episodes back, so I'll say something nice about cold water today. It's refreshing to splash on your face. Many people like to drink cold water. Those polar bear dudes like to swim in the icy cold water in the winter as well. I guess that's cool. Anyway, real quickly, the website is peoplewelovepodcast.com. Everything you need is on there. Links to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., etc. That's peoplewelovepodcast.com. Please tap subscribe or follow on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I appreciate that. So today's guest is actor, writer, comedian Max Hawksford. Originally from Wisconsin, he claims to have had a simple life. Other than the fact that Max, A, has a twin brother, and B, when he and that twin brother were 12, his parents adopted two Russian boys, age 11 and 13. Oh, and Max has two older sisters as well. And we get into all of it, having a big family, having new Russian brothers suddenly, growing up going to Catholic church, playing basketball and tennis. And Max kind of always had an interest in performing and acting, but it really wasn't until taking an acting class in college that he started to realize that he had a passion for it. Along the way, Max also discovered his love for comedy and performing comedic character sketches. And one of his biggest comedy heroes is Sacha Baron Cohen, so we get into Sacha Cohen as well. Don't worry, though. We don't do any Borat voices. Anyway, let's do it. Here's Max Hawksford. So it's good to see you today, Max Hawksford.
Yes, that's me.
That is your name.
That's my name. That's my real name.
It's been confirmed.
Yeah, Maxwell Thomas Hawksford is my official full birth name.
You're not Jewish.
No, definitely not Jewish. I think it's an English name.
Yeah.
Not confirmed, but that's what I've been told.
Have you done? So you haven't done your 23 and Me or anything like that?
No, I've been curious to see what it would be. It would probably be very boring, very.
Just you. It's just you. It's not not boring or other. It's just you. Everybody's.
I guess. Yeah.
No surprises is what you're saying.
Yeah. Nothing. I doubt there would be surprises. Yeah. It'd be interesting if there were
I did do mine.
Yeah, what was yours?
99.6% Eastern European Ashkenazi Jew.
Wow.
Maybe a little
99.6?
I think that's what
What's the 4%?
Like Mediterranean, maybe, or something like that.
And 4% is, so that's like
0.4%.
0.4. So that's
I think that's what it said.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
Such a small percentage.
I don't know. They probably made it up.
Yeah.
They're just like, here's, just give me $150
that'd be such
or whatever
a great scam because it hasn't.
Who's gonna know?
Yeah, who knows? And then it's like, yeah, it would be. And did you put saliva? Is that how you did it?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'll give them whatever they want. No, I guess I was just curious.
Yeah.
Anyway, how's your day going?
It's going good. I've got preparing for my solo show tomorrow, which is exciting.
This will come out after that show, but there will be more shows.
There'll be more show August 6th. I don't know if that's.
Oh yeah, I think that might be
August 6th, another one.
Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, so it's kind of that, and so it's a kind of a I don't know how to energetically prepare, so I'm not like crazy exerting myself the day before, so I'm not like showing up tomorrow with a lot of weird mixed energy. So tomorrow I'll like wake up and just be ready to fucking kill it.
And your show, we'll get into all this, but you do mostly characters, correct?
Yeah. It's 30 minutes of characters. I've been doing characters for three and a half years, and so it was just kind of time for me to put a collection of them together, and these are my 8 favorite that I've put together.
Nice.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm very happy about it. I did one show about a month ago at Comedy Central, and it had a great response. It sold out, and I'm excited to do it again.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I can't wait, man.
Exciting.
Make you laugh.
Exciting. So why don't you tell my audience a little bit about yourself and where you grew up and all that. Tell me your life story and
starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Start at the hospital when you were born.
The hospital, okay. St. Paul, Minnesota. I don't know. St. Mary's Hospital. I don't remember the day.
You don't remember your birthday?
I don't remember it. I don't remember it.
Oh, you're saying you don't remember what was happening that day, or you're saying you don't remember which day of the week?
Yes, I don't remember.
You know your birth date.
I know. It's August 5th. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's coming up too.
Yeah. In a couple, like 2 weeks or something.
Well, happy almost birthday.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to start paying for my insurance now, health insurance.
Yeah,
which is 26. So it's an interesting year. I feel like the last 2 years has just been. I don't even know what to describe them as. Just interesting years.
Yeah.
Exciting things happen. But
we'll get into those things.
Okay. Yeah. So starting, I grew up in. Yeah, we'll get into them. Grew up in Wisconsin. A very simple life I had. It was. I had 3 brothers and sisters. And
older, younger.
I have a twin brother. He's 2 minutes older. And
you have a twin brother who's 2 minutes older, and he's fraternal.
Fraternal. We don't look alike. Yeah.
You don't look alike at all.
Not at all. There's people say when we stand next to each other, we kind of are similar. But if you like, we went through all of our like eyes aren't the same, nose isn't the same, lips aren't the same. Everything is different.
Are you both 6'4" beasts?
He's 6. He's like an inch shorter than me.
Okay,
but
he's ballpark. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just built differently. Yeah, I don't know. He's just built differently.
What about personality?
I would say we find a lot of the same things funny. Like when we laugh at something, when I think something's funny, usually he thinks it's funny too.
Yeah.
Which is so fun.
I bet.
Yeah, especially growing up in a Catholic church, which was like, there was so much like it was just nice to have someone that could be like, just laugh.
To make fun of things with.
Well, yeah, I still remember I'll never forget, there was a moment when I can't remember there was a song going on. It was like a solo this person was doing, and their microphone kept going like, and this guy was like having a panic attack on stage. And
did it sound like he was having a panic attack, or he actually was?
Well, like he was just sweating.
Yeah,
I was nervous, and he was a young kid.
He's having a bit of a breakdown.
Yeah, and we were in the back. Me and my brother, we were just covering our mouth, and then we couldn't make eye contact with each other, and it was so funny. And then we also would do piano recitals together, and that was a train wreck because when we both couldn't stop laughing, and when one person would be called to do their song, they'd immediately get extremely nervous because they did not practice enough.
Yeah,
because they knew they were going to be bad, and then so the other person would be laughing how bad it was in this very like.
You're talking about you laughing at your brother and vice versa?
Yes, yeah, okay. Yeah. And so when I would watch him, I would laugh and he would panic. Same when it was me on stage, I would panic, he would laugh. And it was in this like regal church that we would do this. And so it was just very proper, and it was so wrong to laugh, but it was great to have that.
I feel like I've learned a lot already just talking in the last 3-4 minutes about the Catholic upbringing and the sort of, you have a subversive streak in you, it sounds like. And that's maybe we'll get into it, but I'm sure that's maybe why you gravitate towards Borat and Sacha Cohen and all that material, because he kind of tears down establishments and formality and regalness, anything that's proper, like.
Yeah, I mean, it
needs to be torn. Very
inspiring to and it's not even just like it's just like I don't even know what you would call it, but it's just like it's not like he's making a statement, but he's just like doing something that makes people think.
Yeah,
which is really cool. Like his first character, Ali G, it was so funny, but he also, I was reading this book about someone said he wanted young kids to be more involved in government and politics.
Yeah.
And so doing that character forced young kids to watch these politicians that he would interview. And I thought that was so interesting. And of course, so many of the kids, they're not there for the politician, but, maybe they do stick around, or maybe they do hear some of their policies or whatever they believe in.
Yeah, they're being exposed to something they wouldn't have been exposed to. And, or even, of course, in a humorous way.
Yeah, and so it's so great to yeah, he's very inspiring, and I think that's something as I grow as an artist, as a comedian, as a performer, that's something. There is a few things I've done so many characters, and there's a few that have stuck around that I feel like have been more than just a funny, quirky character. I think you saw one of them was that Pastor Lars character.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's such a statement to that. I think church is being so sexy now. It's so sexy, and like people are so attractive that are leading these churches, and you're like, is this a marketing? It was so crazy to me. And so that's kind of where that idea started. I mean, actually, no, it was far from that idea, but the more I like dove into it and, workshopped it, the more I was like, oh, I think this is what I believe about many churches right now. And then and it was really cool when other people were very connected.
You're referring to millennial priest is basically.
Yes, so much. Yeah. Sexy millennial priest. It's funny
it's character.
It's crazy. And it's, and the funny thing was, like, when I first performed it in front of at the UCB, I did the characters welcome team there. And, and I was like, well, I feel like this might just be for me, like this character, like the specificness of it. I had him dancing along. I was like, well, I think maybe I just find it funny. But then after the show, so many people were coming up to me and they were like, I know exactly who that person is. I have a person that I went to church with, and it was really cool to have so many people have extreme reactions to a character.
Isn't that kind of like the first step is for you to, to know if a character, to think a character could be good or funny, is that you have to think, you have to like the character and think it's funny?
Yeah, I think, of course, like there always has to be a reason why, I think that whenever I'm putting work into a character, there has to be a reason why I'm doing it. But then sometimes, you do something and you're like, it just kind of, I mean, of course it's funny, but then it's like an added bonus when an audience
connects with
that. They it's more than just this like what character, this crazy dad.
Yeah. Something more specific than crazy dad.
Yeah, and also you don't know how much longer, millennial pastor is going to be around.
Yeah.
Like that. It's a character that's in the moment right now, very present.
True.
Crazy dad will always be around.
Yeah, in various forms.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got your twin brother, and you guys are talking shit in church, and you guys are talking shit on each other during the recitals. So what was like, is that what you did as far as performing growing up? What was your what was your experience as far as like?
Well, I will say this:
being a performer.
I said I had 3 brothers and sisters. But when I was 12, we adopted 2 Russian boys. And so that was so they were one's a year older than me, one's a year younger than me. And so that was a very influential moment growing up to, Wisconsin is a very safe, secluded world. And having 2 tough Russian boys.
How old were they at the time when they were adopted?
11 and 13.
11 and 13, and you were 12.
12, and so there was 4
so was your
boys.
Brother.
So there's 4 boys.
And your sister was how old?
I have 2 sisters. One would have been like 15. One would have been 17.
Okay, so the girls were older.
Yeah. And so, so it was crazy. There was like this power struggle when they came. At first it was really fun just having these boys over to like just
it was like friends, or was it
like
it was friends?
I mean, they couldn't speak any English, but it was like they were just fun to do stuff with, I guess, that age.
I can't imagine what did you and your brothers well, I mean, we don't have to we could do a whole interview, I'm sure, just about about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could feel free to share as much as the circumstances and of this going down, like
well, one of the first
going
things
down is not the best
I'll
term.
never forget was when they first came to our home. We had bikes, and they wouldn't stop riding the bikes. They thought it was the funnest coolest thing
Because
ever.
it's probably bad weather and where they're from.
Well,
so
it's an orphanage. I don't know if they had access. I mean, they did have bikes, but I think just having their own bike.
Right.
For a
Yeah.
night
It
was
wasn't
so
just the
fun.
weather.
Yeah, and it was so. And at the time, it was just like, there's other people that don't have bikes.
Yeah.
What? It was just so eye-opening at the time to realize, this
They're a little sheltered even to some degree.
for sure, sheltered. And I think that was just the start of becoming more aware of beyond my own perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we would, but eventually there was like this power struggle, and it was just so funny. I had 13-year-old boys, but they were clearly physically more capable than us. Me and my twin brother, we were two like skinny, tall boys, and they are tough, thick-skinned Russian boys.
Literally thick-skinned.
Yes, and they would beat the shit out of us anytime. And so that might have been, but also this is how good they were at like physically. They didn't know English coming over, and within the first 2 years of middle school wrestling, they were within the quarterfinals of winning state.
Wow.
So that's insane. Like, they don't even know how to properly discuss strategy with their coach.
But they must have had experience in
I mean,
overseas.
it was funny because it was like, technically they were so in the beginning they were technically so not correct with their wrestling strategy, but they were just stronger and more capable.
Sure.
And just were used to roughhousing. That was another thing that I was just like, they like to just like wrestle, and I was like, this isn't fun. I don't
Get
like
away from
pushing.
me.
This is not fun. I don't like this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about how did your brother and your sisters react to them?
To the it went through stages. At first it was like this honeymoon stage where it was like, oh, we have these two new fun friends over. You know, it was
funny.
And then slowly, because it happened in the summer when they came, and then we had school, but we had 3 months of kind of fun, and then we had school, and then it was this kind of this transition it was a very tough transition, because then it was we were taking classes together, and then they were kind of they were just kind of in the mix with our friends. And
right.
At the time, I thought that was annoying, because
right, I could see that.
I didn't like that. And I was like,
you wanted a separate.
Yeah, I was like, these guys aren't cool. They, at the time I was like, they're not cool. Whatever, which is such a small-minded way to think. But at the time, that's what I thought, and so I was mad that they were taking time away from my friends, and I had to reschedule my class schedule so that I could be in a class with Kolya. And so like I was so mad at that, and then I did but it was so small-minded thinking. But so yeah, that's when the power struggle happened,
right?
When school started to happen. Yeah.
And what about your relationship with all your siblings today? Are you guys all close or not close?
Yeah,
are any of them in LA?
No, they're all around Wisconsin, Minnesota, except Dima. He's my younger brother. He's moving to Florida, I think, sometime now, he either did or in a couple weeks. But other than him, they're all in Wisconsin and Minnesota. And I go home and it's great. I get to see all of them. Like last time I was there, it was so funny and it was so cute. I showed up and it was like, I was just happy my mom was like, I was just happy to see my mom because I went to stay at my parents' house, and I was just happy to see my mom. And she's like, oh, well, my mom and dad were there. And then she's like, they all kept surprising me. So next, my they
appeared all at once.
No, but my older sister came next with her husband, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's so great to see you!" And then my mom, I saw another car drive up, and my mom's like, "Oh, must be the neighbor or something." And then my twin brother was there.
Yeah, I meant one at a time.
And yeah, one at a time.
Yeah,
and so eventually they all came, and it was so sweet to have them all around the table. Demo was not, unfortunately, able to make it since he lives so far away.
Yeah.
It's so great to have so many people when I come home. You really feel the love.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you're going through high school. Your siblings are a little annoying, but you're getting through it. Were you? And what was high school like for you? Were you involved in a lot of clubs and drama and sports?
I like to. I was very into tennis and basketball.
Yeah,
those are my two sports. It was weird. I felt like I was I thought about this the other day. I felt like I was a popular outsider, where I was had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
But I wasn't part of like a group other than my sports groups.
Yeah.
And so, but I was like, of course, would go to like every party, and was like, was friends with all the, like I was cool, but I felt like I was, out of it.
Yeah.
I guess like I was detached from, I was like me on the outside, and then I would go in for the group.
Yeah, you didn't sounds like you were not cliquey.
No, I never liked that. I didn't like, even now I don't like the idea of being stuck in one place.
Yeah.
I like the freedom of whatever I want.
I feel like there's a fine line between like, am I being cliquey? Is that group of people being cliquey, or are they just like, okay, that's just people who are good friends and they're close friends and they like to spend time? Like, what is the good friends enjoying company, or are they being not inclusive? Whatever the word, the opposite, opposite of inclusive for to the point it's a negative.
That's a great. I would like to be more of that.
Exclusive.
Where you have friends and enjoy each other's company, but you're not like a clique, right? Where you're not like dependent on each other.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's now I've been here in LA for 4.5 years, and I realize how important it is to have good people around you. Right. It is nice to feel like you're doing it on your own, but that gets lonely, and it's just more fun to do things with people. For sure, and this makes me think of something that's come up a few times talking to past guests, is that LA has this reputation. Oh, people are fake, and everyone's not cool and not trustworthy, and there aren't a lot of good people here. But I think that the good people and the genuine people and the authentic people do tend to gravitate towards each other, and I think so and find each other. So. I think that's what I like to believe. I think there's some truth in that. Okay, so what happened after high school? Where did we go from there? I went to college. I went to a small school called Whitewater, Wisconsin. So you stayed close to home. Yeah, I played tennis there which was really fun. And but at the end, I remember I was just watching the other tennis seniors graduate, and they told us it was supposed to be inspiring, but it was actually made me realize I needed to get out of there as soon as possible. They were telling us what they were going to be doing after college. This is when others were senior tennis. You were a freshman, and the seniors were saying what they were like. There was like a ceremony of like, okay, now blah blah blah. It's going to go on to assistant coach at blah 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 high school. And I was like, oh my God, I can't be doing this. I don't want to be doing this. Yeah. Like I saw my future, and I was like, I can't be doing that. So were you commuting from home to go to school? I would live there. You lived there. How far was it? It was like 6 hours. 6 hours. Okay. So you went, so you went away to school. Oh yeah. It's on the totally other side of the street. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. That's close to the Michigan, closer to like, Illinois, Michigan. I got you. I was like middle of Minnesota border. Yeah. So you had quite an epiphany, though. Yeah. Then, I transferred to the University of Minnesota, and it was in my brain for a long time that I liked the idea of the arts, but I never grew up in an artistic home. it just wasn't discussed a lot. And so it was never really on my mind. And I think it was always kind of exciting, that idea. Like I still remember seeing the high school, as a senior, I was seeing the high school play auditions, and I was like, oh, that'd be really fun. But then I had sports.
Yeah, you were more on the sports
but
side than the performing side in high school.
Yeah, and then when I was a freshman in college, I lied and said I needed this acting credit. And
look at you!
So I snuck into
such a guy.
I know. I lied because I was so embarrassed to say that. It was crazy. I wanted to do it, but I was so embarrassed to do it. Because it was like art. No, that's like...
What, it was a theater thing?
Yeah, theater drama class or something like that. And I was so bad. And every time it was a Friday morning class, and I would purposely get wasted the night before so I could show up hungover for Friday, so it would look like I wasn't caring. There was such a thing.
Wow, that's
it was such a terrifying thing. But I knew that I wanted to do it. Yeah. But it was so terrifying, and I was so bad. And a lot of the other people had been acting, longer. And so it was like, I just felt, but it was it was a crazy mix of being horribly bad at it, but wanting to be good at it.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in a second, but I was curious because you said you didn't really grow up in a household with a lot of arts and things like that.
I know, and I did say piano, which is like the only artistic thing.
What about like movies and TV shows and things that you grew up on? Did you watch a lot of movies and TV shows, or were you a fan of the arts or pop culture or movies yourself?
It was, I never was, there were certain things when I was in high school. My family loved to laugh. That was one thing that we always would like to laugh. But it was never like, oh, this film changed my life, or like, this is what I wanted to do. And it was also just like, in Wisconsin, there's not even an awareness that you could be doing that.
Right.
There's no one that is around you to be talking like, you could actually, audition for these things. No one is talking about that. That's not, there's, when you're having your career counseling, they're never like, you should chase your dream and go to LA. Like, no one's saying that.
Yeah.
And so, it was never a thought. But I did notice one thing I think about going back was there's a few films and TV shows that were so funny to me and my friends, and that's what I want to be doing, is like we would talk in those characters.
Right.
That was our language.
Yeah.
Through these movies. And that's what I would love to do. Like Ja'mie, Private School Girl. Did you ever see that?
I have not.
It's just such a funny, this Australian comedian, Chris Lilly, he had this character called Ja'mie, J-A''MIE. And it was this like private school teenage girl. And he's like, was in his 40s or 30s at the time. And he was so funny. And it was just me and my friends, we would talk. That was our language with each other. And that was so cool. Now looking back, I'm like, okay, cool. I would love to have something like that where my friends are, it's such a culture thing.
Yeah, I noticed that talking to guests here, like even people who weren't maybe hardcore like movie watchers and watched every single movie or knew every single TV show, they were just those few that had the profound impact on them, even if they didn't know it at the time.
Yeah, we could enjoy it, which was it wasn't more so like an epiphany. It was more just like the pure enjoyment of this thing. And that was so fun to have. And I would love to do that for other people.
Well, it sounds like you got started when you were, auditioning or pursuing, or you taking the acting class in college. So tell me more about that. You were saying, or we can go on from there. Because you said you were in the class and you weren't. It was kind of a struggle.
It was a shit show. Yeah, it was. But it was exciting that we had and I still remember there was we had to audition, I think, or something for. There was a senior project that they were writing. The seniors would write for the freshmen, or senior would write for the drama class. And I remember one of the people cast me, and I was like,
This is when you were fresh.
this was a freshman, but it was like a super small thing. But I just remember I was like, and then I got to like have one script, and then I get to go over it with the director, and it was so
exciting.
It was exciting. It was fun to see the art behind it. I really enjoyed that, and I think I'm like getting happy just thinking about it. Going like how at the time my idea of what acting was is so different, but it was really fun to just explore and try things.
Did you find any similarities or, between playing basketball, I guess, which is a team sport, and acting, which is, of course, a collaborative thing in itself, where there's some similarities as far as teamwork and coaching and being on the same page with other people, anything like that you noticed?
There's one thing that I found that drew me more to comedy was I found the frustration with acting was that there was not really tangible results. I find that with comedy there are more tangible results.
Oh yeah, you get laughs, you did your job.
You did your job, and many times you can do a horrible dramatic scene and people can be like, that was so good. And you're like, and sometimes you just don't know. The feedback can be swayed. And then you could do, a brilliant scene and then it's like people could just walk away and they don't care.
Right.
And so that's one thing, because like with sports, it's either win or you lose. And with comedy, it's like, I find that I liked that more results orientated thing of I want the audience. I mean, there's so many different things, but I know if I'm doing a good job.
Sure.
I know if I've won.
Right.
Them over.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I like that. Yeah.
What did you major in?
I didn't graduate. I dropped out after my sophomore year.
Okay.
But I was studying journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was writing, which was, at the time I enjoyed writing, but I remember I was in this journalism at the U of M. So I went to Whitewater my freshman year, Minnesota my second year, and then I dropped out. And I remember I was writing for these different clubs, and I just remember I didn't have a lot to say, but I liked the writing process.
You're talking about journalism?
Journalism. I didn't have a lot to say. Like, I didn't have a lot of opinions at the time. And sometimes I'm like, do I have opinions? But it was, I enjoyed stories, but it didn't feel like, there was, at least with basketball and tennis when I was growing up, and just a few other things, like there was this kind of hook to me where I would become obsessed.
Right.
There was things where I become obsessed, and like I was lucky to know that at a young age of like I would play basketball, shoot outside for hours and hours and hours. I would play tennis, I would hit against the wall for hours and hours and hours by myself. And I didn't have that feeling, but I knew what that feeling was.
Right.
And so that's what I remember. I had a hard time choosing a major because I didn't have that feeling. And it's hard to discuss that feeling to people that don't really know what that feeling is.
I think you're explaining it very well. At least,
but something where you will be obsessed over. And then when I started doing comedy, I took an improv class, and quickly I became obsessed.
Was this around that time?
No, I dropped out of college, and then I tried to do acting. I was actually acting, doing some Minneapolis,
in Minneapolis,
like small jobs and like print jobs, and I started working with an agency in Chicago, and I was mega busing from Minneapolis to Chicago, and I remember. This was when I was like, this isn't worth it, because it was freezing. It was like the middle of winter. And it's like, I remember one time there was a bus that didn't have heat, and we were just like freezing on this bus. And I got to this casting, and they grabbed me and they were like, okay, everyone behind you, we're not seeing. You're the last one we're seeing. And it was like I drove 8 hours and I barely got seen, and I didn't book it, but I was like, this isn't worth it. It's too much work for such a small thing.
Yeah.
And I had some some network, some sort of connections through a small film I did in Minneapolis, in LA. And it just kind of, I was going to stay there, but then I just ended, like, for a little bit, but then I just ended up staying in LA.
In LA. Gotcha.
That was a transition. Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you, must have been a hard decision to drop out of school and leave school and pursue what it sounds like acting and performing in some capacity. Was it a tough decision? How did your family and friends and brothers and sisters all react to that?
It's funny. I think there's something, I think there's like a feeling, it's a weird thing, but I was trying to major in journalism and then something else, but I couldn't finish because journalism, they're like, if it's just journalism, you're not going to do well because there's not a focus of it. So you needed to do journalism and something else. And then so when I did, I couldn't graduate in 4 years if I wanted to do journalism and then something else. I could only do journalism for you. So I was going to be there like 4.5, 5 years. And I was like, that wasn't cool for me.
It seemed daunting. It seemed like a prison sentence.
Yeah,
not a prison sentence, but like daunting.
Yeah, and financially that was a lot, and so, and I remember I had that summer before school had started. I had just been doing a lot of work, like entertainment work.
This is summer. This is before what would have been your junior year.
Yeah. And so I had like a month of class, and then I had like 1 week before have like the payment was due for the next semester. And I was thinking, like, I was in bed and I missed class, and that it was like an 8 a.m. class. And I was thinking, if I really wanted to do this, I wouldn't be missing class. And then I just laid in bed because it kind of was like a rush of creative energy. I don't know what you call it, but, and I was laying in bed, and then I was like, I'm going to drop out and I'm going to pursue this.
Yeah.
And it happened. And then my mom was actually coming over that day luckily it was like, she was 30 minutes away, and I can't remember, maybe we were just getting lunch or something, but, it's just my mom was coming over for lunch. That was a great day. But she was coming over, and I was like, I'm going to tell my mom today. And then she picked me up, and I sat in the passenger seat, and I looked over, and I think this was at the end of our lunch too, actually. She was about to.
That's probably smart.
Yeah, I think so. And she was mad that I waited till the end of course. But I remember I looked over and I told her, Mom, I'm going to drop out. And she just sat there, and she was like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she was like, okay. It shocked her, but she was supportive. She's like, I wish you would have stayed, but that's okay. And it was like supportive immediately, which was so amazing. And she was like, she like like at the time it was also scary because it was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
But you knew you were going to pursue performing, and she knew that that's what you were probably going to do in some capacity.
Yeah, but the thing was, it's like, as a parent, to for your kid to be pursuing this thing that you don't even know, they don't know, but then also you don't know. So
yeah.
So it's like even more like helpless,
sure,
and out of control. And so, but she was supportive, and then, my dad was, it was funny. They were game with my idea, but they were like, you're going to have to figure it out. You know, like, we're not going to be, like, we don't like the idea of you dropping out and doing this, but, we will cheer you on, I guess. Like, they were like, we wish you would have stayed in college.
But it sounds like, they know you and you know them, and that it seems like you're a decent guy.
I had
and
a good
track
record of being successful at the things I did.
Right. Did you get good grades in high school?
I got good grades. I did very well at basketball and tennis
and sports. You're able to apply yourself.
Yes, I was smart. You know, they were like, well, okay. So it was, but then, so it was crazy because it wasn't like a strategic decision. It was more like, this is what needs to happen. It's like a feeling.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting. Like I can still remember that feeling, like that, like looking over like that morning, and then also looking over at my mom and telling her.
Yeah, I mean, you made the decision in this moment, but at the same time, it's kind of a long time coming, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, it's been like 6 years since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. It's I feel lucky to have had a lot of those moments that have led me to where I am now.
You trust your instincts.
Yeah, I think that's something that I have trusted that innate instinct to feel what is right.
Right.
Or quote unquote right.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So you moved to LA full time, and what happened from there?
Oh, it was horrible.
Horrible.
Horrible. Yeah.
When you first moved here.
Yeah. Well, the thing was when I first came here, this was also. I was trying to model. I was like 165 and 6'3", and it was like I had a manager that was like repping me, and she got me these like great meetings with like Wilhelmina models. I met with LA models.
Is that something that you knew you were?
It was like I wanted to be a model actor, which is
even
so funny to
even
think
before
about.
you came to LA, you kind of had the idea that modeling would be an option or an idea.
I mean, I was doing work in Minneapolis,
right?
But I mean, it's Minneapolis work,
right?
It's not like it's anything cool. But at the time, it was like I was doing stuff. But I knew, I mean, it was at a time. It was I wanted to do that, and then none of those agencies wanted me.
Yeah.
And then because I remember I was like flying over, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a star in the fucking airplane, and I'm going to meet with Wilhelmina models tomorrow, and I'm going to meet with the head director and all this stuff. And then, I remember leaving, and I took a Snapchat of that feeling. And then my manager, it was like, none of them want to take you on right now. And I was like, what? I have to get a job. Like it was so,
yeah.
And thank God for it, like, and at the time being so self-righteous about like my decisions. At the time I moved out here, and I was a little bit kind of like, everyone should chase their dreams. Like, and then I almost like looked down on my family at that time for not chasing their dreams. And I was so self-righteous about it. And I'm glad it happened, because otherwise I would be so annoying to this.
you would be so annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I think I am still annoying, but
you're aware. You're aware of it.
Then I'll be like, no one's enjoying me talking. I'll just shut up. No one enjoys my ideas.
But you probably were coming to LA thinking, my income is going to be from acting or modeling.
It's gonna be really easy.
Yeah, it'll be easy, and it'll be from those things.
Yeah, and I got a scooter. Well, at the first I was living in West Hollywood, and I was like, well, I don't need a car right away, because until I start making good money as an actor or model, then I'll pay for a car. And then I didn't get any money for a long time, and I was like, I had like 10 grand or something, went all away so fast.
Yeah.
And I had to move out, and then I had to basically live in a living room, and then drive a scooter. And both of the times I was like, this is going to be temporary. And then I lived in the living room with one of those, like, what do you call
Dividers?
it? Dividers.
Yeah.
And drove the scooter. And it was a Chinese scooter. Chinese scooters are horrible. Japanese scooters are the good ones.
Yeah.
I had 2 Chinese scooters. They broke down so fast. I had to walk up so many hills with these scooters. But it took and then I was living in Culver City, and then basically, and it wasn't until a year ago that I stopped living in a living room.
Yeah.
I still drive a scooter today.
Nice.
Still drive a scooter.
Stay true.
Stay true. But yeah, it's still. I'm still waiting for the money to be rolling in.
Aren't we all, my friend?
Yeah,
to some degree, for sure.
But until it is. I'm glad to have done that, because then I got to move faster and learn faster. There's a lot of people that I know that are working, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, and for a side job, and then they don't have any time for their art, and it's tragic to see that, because then you're like, nothing's happening.
That's another thing that's come up in past episodes. People talking about how, you have to take on 2 jobs, but sometimes the side job or the day job or whatever the case may be can become too much of the focus, and you lose sight of why you moved here and your passions and what you want to do in the first place.
Yeah, living in a living room, I will say, at first it's embarrassing, but then like you get used to it. But also there's something I liked about having the uncomfortability of living in one, because then you're like, I gotta chase my dreams, right? So I'm not here. And even now, like I'm renting my living room out to someone right now, and so every morning I like, oh, okay, that person's still there.
Yeah.
So I got to get it going. I got to make moves.
Yeah. So I can not have to have this living room roommate.
Yeah. I doubt he's gonna listen to this.
It's not him. It's not a personal thing against him.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's more of this. It's more the situation.
It's the idea of it.
Have you gotten any material, characters, creative inspiration from the living room stories or from the scootering around town? Have you gotten funny moments or stories that you've
it's funny.
incorporated into your work?
I think about that, and I think if writing for longer like sitcoms, like there is a lot to play in that world, but writing characters, I really like the idea of just escapism, like really, people are so good at playing reality, and I think it's really cool. But there's something when I watch, like, I don't want to remind people of how bad life is sometimes.
Right.
Like I want people to leave whatever's happening and go to a world that they've never been before. And it's so exciting when you can do that. And maybe I have written, I write longer things now, but and so those, I think the living room thing will come around, but it's definitely like in my brain, but it just like I don't feel like I want to write it right now.
Yeah, you'll know when the time is right.
Yeah.
So as far as Sacha Cohen, when did you first discover him?
I saw
the Ali G show is what you.
No, well, I saw Borat first.
The movie.
The Borat the movie.
Yeah.
And then Bruno. But at the time it was crazy. This was, I think, when I was in high school, and so I wasn't really pursuing comedy, but it was so funny to me and my friends. Like when they're chasing each other around naked. Is so funny in that hotel.
I love that movie.
It's in a hotel. Yeah, the hotel. But it's so funny, and it's so different too, which was so cool to watch. There was so many great jokes. There was also some like very honest, real moments. There were so many great things going on, and so different. And until I started doing comedy, then I started to be a little bit more aware of where I'm, who inspires me, what kind of work I really am drawn to. And then just kind of researching these people that I grew up on, I realized, oh yeah, he's genius. And
right.
He's great. And then I looked into all of his past work, and I was like, oh yeah, like Ali G, and yeah.
It's just amazing how, I don't even know where to start with the compliments towards that guy, because I'm just such a huge fan of Ali G show and the movies and all that. Like, just the way that guy commits to a character, even when things are going sideways for him or in unexpected ways.
And the thing
it's amazing. This guy is so brave.
Yeah, and the thing I love about it too, it's like the world did not need Borat. The world didn't need that. It wasn't a movie that was saving lives. Like it was just funny, and that was so funny. And I love that. I
think, one of the things that I love about the Borat character and the Ali G and the Bruno is that, he exposes, like, he lets people expose themselves. Like, basically, they're the ones who say, either the inadverted racist thing or the whatever, like whatever thing they shouldn't be saying.
Judgment.
Yeah. He lets them, put their the foot in their mouth, and I think that's amazing that he's able to get that out of people.
I know, and I wonder how much. The crazy thing is of like, he doesn't get a lot of time with these people, and so to be filming and have good, like, that's so high stakes to be like, this person could walk out and all of our footage could be ruined because we didn't even get anything. And so that's so intense and so risk taking.
Yeah, it's exciting, it's dangerous,
it's dangerous.
It must be thrilling and a little scary, like.
Yeah, and just to be like, it's just, I would have so many questions for him. But that kind of risk taking where you don't know what's going to happen would be something. I mean, looking at it as from a comedian writer perspective, to have a film that incorporates that is so risky and bold, and something I really admire that he does.
Yeah, me too. I think another thing that's particularly amazing about the Borat movie and the movies is that to some degree the movies are scripted and the story is scripted and outlined, and maybe even some scenes are, but not everything is. No, for sure. And you kind of don't know for sure, without doing research after the fact or, whatever, came out, is that you don't really know what's real and what's not. And you can maybe kind of tell with some of the, I think the interacting with like the locals in the movie, some of the, when some people in the New York subway are like, yelling at the guy when he's letting a chicken or rooster out on the subway, and he's trying to kiss everyone on the New York City subway and they're cursing at him. I think that was pretty real. Yeah. But obviously some of the stuff with like Pamela Anderson, like that stuff is probably scripted.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
But the stuff that's, in between there, you don't really know what's real, and that's kind of fascinating to me, that you don't know what the hell is.
Yeah, and that's so exciting to have this extra question in an audience's mind, to leave them, is this real?
Yeah.
Is this something that's such an added layer of, it's almost cocky from the performer's perspective to be like, I'll leave them guessing.
No, that's awesome, and the thing is, it's funny either way. Like, whether the scripted stuff, it's funny, or it's the totally natural reactions from the people he's fucking with. Yeah, it's funny stuff.
Yeah, he's one big inspiration that I've had. Will Ferrell's another one. I think the films he's done are so big character films. It's so funny. And like, even thinking about Elf, I guess thinking about when he got the script, it was such a risk. Like, he was almost not going to do it. Yeah. And looking at it now, I'm like, of course you would do it. But then, if you read the script and you're like, but I'm a giant 6'3" man. I can't play this. This is the bad joke. It's going to be a bad joke the whole way through. Yeah. And then it's a massive hit that people still watch every Christmas. That's so cool. And to take those risks. And then also the thing I really loved about Will Ferrell, that he is a funny actor. He's a really good actor. To be able to play a range of characters that he has. Oh yeah. Is so impressive. And that's something that I think sets him apart from many other comedian actors.
So what about the stuff you're working on these days? What are you want to tell me about some of your characters or anything like that? Obviously, I'm not gonna make you perform your characters or anything like that, but you can we'll get into the plugs momentarily and things like that and where people could find you. But if there's anything you wanted to talk about as far as like your characters and how they come about or anything like that.
Yeah, I think my characters, I approach them as if they're as a stand-up would jokes. A lot of the times there'll be kind of a feeling that something's funny, but I really just have to workshop it, put it up on stage and see if this feels good and see if people connect to it. And it's very loose. A lot of time it's very loose. I've done stuff where I'll say the first joke that I like. There's always like I try to have a big hook or something that is original or something that is worth people's time.
Yeah.
And if that's not what I think it is, and there's not any gold in what the character is, I don't have to trash it, but I'll let it sit until maybe my brain will think of a better way to approach it, or maybe it won't, but I'll just like let it sit.
So it sounds like I remember I asked you, you said you had like a whole lot of characters in your stable. If I remember.
I think there's probably like 30 some.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, some of them are fully realized, and I mean, I don't even know if they're all fully realized. I've never made a show for any of them.
Yeah, they're all at varying stages of development, and varying stages yield varying levels of your affection.
Yeah, some of them are bits, and some of them are a minute, some of them are 3 minutes, some of them are 6 minutes, some of them I can go 10 minutes, but they're all, but I would say I probably have 30 that I could be like, this is worth your time.
Do you ever think about your characters when you're in your regular day? Like, you'll come across like something in like a supermarket or something and be like, and it will remind you of one of your characters. So you think about how your character might react in certain situations that you face, or that's just crazy talk?
I'm pretty aware of it when I'm trying to think of stuff. I'm either present in doing my world,
when
or
you're working.
I'm trying to like think of ideas. But I will say some people have they're like, anytime I open a book, I think of this character. So there's a character that I do that just, he's a model casting director, and he overreacts to the portfolio that he's reading.
I've seen it.
Oh yeah, you did.
I have.
Sure, yeah.
That's funny.
And it's really cool when people are like, anytime I open a book, I think of, oh my God! It's just so, it makes me so happy. Or I can't remember, someone else said, God, what was it? It was like just the other day.
Well, other people are thinking of you and your characters.
It's cool when people have, there was just like a small sketch group that I saw at a show, and they were like, they just were like, we can't stop talking about your puzzles character. It's so funny. And it's cool that they're talking about one of my characters and it's part of their word language.
Which character was that?
I don't think you've seen it.
I don't know if I saw that.
No, I mean, you would remember. He does the whole PBS show about puzzles.
He does a PBS show about puzzles?
Yeah, he's a 40-year-old guy that got, I don't know what happened exactly, but he's a 6-year-old at like so he just is like, what I found funny was a lot of these PBS shows, there's these adults that play as if like they're really happy to like, to do these activities of like, let's all go around a circle and say our names. Yay.
Yeah.
And so it was funny to me of like, what if there was an adult that actually like really believed that.
Yeah.
There wasn't this like, he didn't have this adult version of him. He was really this kid. And so it's really fun. It's just a very, like, you see him finish the puzzle and he gets so excited, and it's so fun. Like, he comes out dancing to this like horrendous PBS kids song, and it's so dumb and funny that I just love it. Yeah.
No, sounds like you're loving what you do and you're enjoying it. And
yeah, I'd like to. I've been feeling good about my work these last.
I can tell you look excited.
I am excited. Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell the audience where they can find you and follow you, and remind us about the upcoming August show? And the floor is yours.
Yeah. So my next show that after this podcast will be August 6th at the Lyric Hyperion, and then I have another show August 7th. At UCB at 10:30, that's Sketch Showdown, but it'll be 2 of my characters. And then on August 8th, it's such a run, it's crazy. I have a show at Comedy Central Stage with a amazing, funny group that I'm part of.
Cool. And how can people find you on social media? On Instagram or what?
You can find me on Instagram as Max Hawksford. And then if you're bold, add me on Facebook. We'll see if you get accepted.
Well, they can always see your public posts and follow you.
I think so. I mean, I don't have like a fan page.
Yeah. No, but people can still follow you on there even if you don't accept.
You can?
Yeah, people can. If you don't accept the friend request, they'll just become like a follower and see only public posts.
I didn't know that. Well, then do that, guys.
Yeah. Don't try to be his friend right away.
Instagram's the way to go. Max Hawksford.
Yeah, cool. Well, I appreciate your time for sure. Thanks for stopping by the studio.
This was so much fun.
And I look forward to seeing your show.
Yes,
your show and your shows and more comedy and everything.
More to come.
You got to talk soon, man.
All right.
So there you have it. My interview with Max Hawksford. Out of all the guests I've interviewed so far, I believe he was the tallest. For real though, Max is a funny, hardworking dude, and I again appreciate his time. I wonder if I could beat him one-on-one at basketball. He's got the height on me, but he's never seen my mid-range game. Anyway, peoplewelovepodcast.com, that's my website. Thanks again for listening, and I appreciate the support. Talk soon. Peace.